Ladies and gentlemen, the Chief Executive Officer and Chairman of the Board of the National Broadcasting Company, Mr. Grant Tinker.
On behalf of the National Broadcasting Company, both the radio and television networks, I welcome you to our New York headquarters. NBC has had a long tradition of providing programs of quality to you and your family for over half a century. Today, you will be escorted around our studios and control rooms, as well as other production and operational areas. You will see how NBC's radio and television programs are produced and broadcast around the country and around the world. But first, before you begin your tour, let's look at the history of NBC, prepared for us by one of our more popular personalities.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's Johnny.
I'm Johnny Carson, your tour guide through life, following the local news. For the next segment, I'm going to be your escort down memory lane through the early days of television here at NBC. Even though television had been available since the early days of radio, it didn't become a popular phenomenon until after World War II. Some television programs were patterned on radio, while others developed their own distinctive and exciting formats. The talent came from everywhere: Broadway, Hollywood, radio, and the concert stage.
Oh, we're the men of Texaco. We work from
The 1950s represented innovative styles in the form of live variety, comedy, drama specials, and series. The talk show concept, including The Tonight Show, the daytime quiz programs with audiences, and the popular Western series. In the early 60s, NBC introduced the timeless program, Walt Disney's Wonderful World of Color. Special musical programs for a wide range of audience were also popular. This was also the time of the spy series. In the late 60s, NBC's Wild and Wacky Laugh-In series became the first of its kind to move beyond the sketch and situation formats inherited from radio. And of course, a program that has become television's all-time cult favorite, Star Trek. The 1970s was special for its late night flavor.
You hear that, Elizabeth? I'm coming to join you, honey.
Its introduction of ethnic comedies and the popular family series, Little House on the Prairie. NBC's outstanding TV series and made-for-TV movies will continue to carry on its long traditions of producing quality entertainment for you.
Television production requires the coordination of a team of specialists and a variety of complex equipment.
Rotate 5,
The actual
4,
coordination of production
3,
and equipment
2,
takes place in the
1.
control room. Here, decisions are made about what kinds of pictures and sounds are to be stored on videotape or sent directly over the air. In the studio, engineers, stagehands, and other production people operate television cameras, lighting instruments, microphones, and give direction to the talent. The video engineer is responsible for the quality of the picture that is received from the studio cameras, while the audio engineer perfects the quality of the sound portion of the television program. Most programs and commercials you see on television have been pre-recorded on videotape. With videotape, you can record a program and play it back immediately afterwards. In live studio productions, electronic special effects devices are used to enhance programs. Chroma key is another effect you see every day. The chroma key process electronically inserts the desired image within the chroma-colored screen. Many programs also require editing before they are aired. During these post-production sessions, computerized electronic video effects are used. See if you can count the number of special effects in NBC's Friday night video program.
Michael Jackson's Beat It, The Police with Every Breath You Take, Duran Duran's Hungry Like a Wolf, David Bowie's Let's Dance, Rod Stewart's Baby Jane, Bonnie Tyler's Total Eclipse of the Heart, Rick Springfield's Human Touch, Stevie Nicks with Stand Back, and the vintage video by the Beatles on Friday Night Videos.
At broadcast time, a live studio program or a pre-tape show is transmitted to your home by way of our satellite system and broadcast network. This is accomplished through NBC's Broadcast Operations Control and Switching Central in New York. Now, here is your guide to tell you more about your tour.
The next video highlights NBC Sports and is hosted by sportscaster Dick Enberg.
Hello, I'm Dick Enberg for NBC Sports. We pride ourselves as the leader in innovative sports television, a position we've held since the beginning. Let's take a look at our rich history. NBC was there for the first sporting event ever telecast, a baseball game between Columbia and Princeton Universities in May 1939. 8 years later, the first World Series telecast, the great Red Barber at the microphone.
2 men out, last of the ninth. The pitch swung on. There's a drive hit out toward the right field corner. Henrik is going back. He can't get it. It's off the wall for a base hit. Here comes the tying run, and here comes the winning run.
The innovations continued, including the 1965 Orange Bowl, which was the first night game ever telecast, and the first game to utilize instant replay in color. Along with these technical breakthroughs, we've been able to share some of history's most memorable and dramatic moments. The New York Jets' upset victory, Super Bowl III. Arnold Palmer's emotional win in the 1972 Bob Hope Desert Classic. Oh, how about Hank Aaron's home run number 715?
Balls it deep, deep. It is gone. He did it. He did it. Listen to this.
And Carlton Fisk's home run dance in the 1975 World Series. Urban Magic Johnson's spectacular show in the 1979 NCAA Championships. And also on NBC, Bjorn Borg's unprecedented 5th straight Wimbledon victory. In 1978, we launched a new concept for the network, NBC Sports World, featuring the best live and taped sporting events from around the world. We've had the barrier breakers, the best in boxing, and unmatched style and grace. These are just some of the facets of sport NBC Sports is proud to produce. The best in sports programming.
Outside the studios of WNBC AM, the history of NBC Radio is hosted by celebrity DJ Don Imus, followed by a look and listen in on WNBC's live studio production.
Here he is, gang, the big star.
In short, to be New York's #1 radio show,
WNBC.
You've got to be committed.
Hi, I'm Imus in the Morning, and I've been with WNBC Radio in New York on and off for the past 12 years, except for 2 years when they fired me and sent me to Cleveland. The time was 1926. The nation had gone wild for radio, and NBC inaugurated its first broadcast from the ballroom of the old Waldorf Astoria Hotel. Before and during the Great Depression, radio programs had a variety of formats. The most popular were the musical variety and comedy shows.
Who scared me? Ha, ha, ha.
To the listening audience, early radio announcers were like members of the family and were often mentioned in family wills.
Good evening, Mr. North American. All the ships at sea. Let's go to press.
As time progressed, program diversity was a hallmark of the NBC schedule. Early innovations in radio drama became the forerunners of the serials and situation comedies that followed.
All I know is I throw the ball to first base. Now, whoever it is drops the ball, so Valentine wants the second. Yes. Now, I pick up the ball, and I throw it to who? Whoever it is drops the ball, he throws it to what throws it, I don't know. I don't know, throws it back to tomorrow. That's triple play. That's right.
As the number of programs increased, the number of personalities flourished and became as common as household names.
Child, if you knew Susie like I know Susie.
It's burning and bursting into flames, and this is terrible. This is one of the worst catastrophes in the world.
Many of radio's special coverage broadcasts have been of news events, conventions and elections, presidential speeches, and national and world reports. NBC's radio commitment to news, information, special events, and series programs, sports and music continue in providing today that which is special to you.
Before the tour goes into the studios of the Today Show and NBC Nightly News, guests see this next segment on the history of NBC News, hosted by anchorman Tom Brokaw.
Since 1926, the NBC radio and television network has brought a wealth of news and special events into the homes of millions.
This is a show called Today. It's a new kind of television show.
Today was launched in 1952 with host Dave Garroway. This early morning Monday through Friday blend of news and information still is an influential program in the world of politics today. John Cameron Swayze was NBC's first anchorman of a daily evening television news program, followed over the years by Chet Huntley and David Brinkley, John Chancellor, Roger Mudd, and me. Over the years, NBC has devoted more time to the coverage of special news events with clarity, integrity, and sophistication. Outside of special events and daily news programs, the production of documentaries has continued to be a part of our responsibility to keep you, the public, informed on topics that are likely to affect your lives. Another form of news presentation that NBC has been successful with was the introduction of the News Magazine series. NBC News has over 100 news correspondents working with experienced staffs in 26 news bureaus all over the continental United States and the world, investigating and reporting the news that you need to hear and see on radio and television day in, day out, 365 days a year.
You're listening to NBC News.
Joe Piscopo highlights our most famous TV studio, Studio 8H. After the presentation, the curtains concealing the studio magically open, and guests can see the sets of Saturday Night Live.
Hi, everybody. I'm Joe Piscopo from Saturday Night Live. You know, part of the magic of our show is this big, wonderful studio where it all happens. It's the most famous TV studio at NBC and maybe in the world. Studio 8H has a history dating back to the early days of radio, when it was the world's largest radio broadcast facility. Here is Arturo Toscanini conducting the NBC Symphony Orchestra. The orchestra made Studio 8H its home from 1937 to 1954. Recently, those great years were remembered in a tribute to Toscanini, one of the shows in a series of musical programs presented on Live from Studio 8H. In 1948, 8H was converted to a television studio and produced the great drama series Kraft Television Theater, Robert Montgomery Presents, and Hallmark Hall of Fame. Mr. Peepers, a weekly comedy series starring Wally Cox and Tony Randall, aired from the studio live from 1952 to 1955. Mr. Randall was back recently for a visit in NBC's family show, Love, Sydney. In the 50s, the joint was jumping with the popular music of Your Hit Parade. And Hullabaloo rocked and rolled them in the 60s. And of course, no history of this studio would be complete without the game shows.
From New York City, it's time to play the Match Game.
Match Game was televised from here Monday through Friday from 1962 to 1969. America found out who its next president would be from our 8H election coverage. And as 8H Space Center, we saw our manned space flights broadcast around the world. Speaking of out of this world, here are some of my friends who have been staying up late on Saturday night since 1975 to make America laugh with Saturday Night Live. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm proud to introduce to you Studio 8H.
We at the National Broadcasting Company hope you've enjoyed your video tour, and we invite you to come to see us in New York for an exciting tour of the NBC studios.